Hello, Virgo. Welcome to your weekly reading here on Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. If you're watching this reading was meant to find you. Please hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Virgo, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. High Priestess. This is the spiritual guide, right? This is the energy that shows us the way to the Empress life. This is card number 2 of the tarot. Card number 3, the card that's right behind the High Priestess, is the Empress, right? This is your intuition. This is the message coming from Spirit. This is what you know to be true. You know the way, right? You know exactly what to do and how to do it. Just a matter of following that certainty, believing in yourself, trusting your intuition. I feel like you're somebody who is fighting against your intuition sometimes. Sometimes we're right in the flow, and we're following that intuition, sort of being assisted by our heart and our mind, being thrust forward by our will. Things seem to go okay, right? Things seem to go smoothly, right? It's when we fight against our intuition. It's when we're holding on to something that we know to be true, but we just don't want to believe it. We just don't want to make the change. We don't want to get up and do it, etc., etc. That's when we feel that we feel torn. We feel the friction inside of us because there is a certainty here. It's kind of the Spirit's way of saying, you know all the answers in your life right now. Why are you not believing in yourself, Let's put this card into a little bit of context, okay? Let's see what is going on for you right now. We've got that 7 of Swords. That's some of that disbelief. We've got this certainty. We've got this intuition, but for whatever reason, our mind doesn't want to accept it. There are other people, perhaps around you, that are sort of criticizing you, that don't want to believe it, right? So there's a lot of opposition there. Got that 10 of Cups. We've got that Prince of Cups. We've got that Princess of Cups. We've got that 5 of Cups. You're surrounded by water, Virgo. You're surrounded by water, and your intuition is telling you, go, get the water, find the water, drink, enjoy life, do what you want to do, feel good, be happy, right? But the mind is sort of, it's almost like the mind feels threatened by all that water energy. See, it's surrounded by all of this water energy, and some of it might be the risk of disappointment, right? Some of it might be the mind saying, well, yeah, if you follow your intuition and you go a different way, what if you're wrong? What if you end up, doing something that you regret? What if it ends up being a disappointment? What if it doesn't work out? What if it makes you sad, right? But the 10 of Cups is underneath here. This is worth the risk. This is satiety. This is a life that is full. We are stretched at our ease in our life, right? And this is what's inside of you. This is that certainty. You know that the good life is here. You know that the good life is right here. All we got to do is take all the junk off of it and reveal that piece of treasure underneath the junk pile, But sometimes the mind is all over the place, right? Sometimes it's our own left brain that's fighting with the right brain. The right brain has that intuitive, emotional kind of pull, knows what it wants, knows how to get it, knows what it looks like, but the left brain is just kind of doubting, right? Disbelieving, finding obstacles where there aren't any, imagining all the ways that it could go wrong, and really trying to interfere with that certainty. And that's part of our 7 of Swords. And that's what we're going to be overcoming. And I think that a lot of changes are taking place in 2025. This cycle of readings has become kind of the readings for 2025 and how we're transitioning into the new year, I think that your entire life is going to change this coming year. Okay? Because I feel like you're taking down all these mental obstacles, mental roadblocks, and you're realizing all of this kind of warm love, water energy around you. And I think that you're going to change your life. You're going to start following this intuition, and you're going to start getting those things that you want in life and feeling the way you want to feel in life. But we've got to remove that. We've got to remove the naysayers and the haters and the instigators, right? From both inside of ourselves and around us in our lives. Okay? If there's anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now we'll put the rest of our cards on deck here. We got the Eon. Well, there's the doorway to the future. That's a definite decision for you to change your life. And there's the Empress. See what I tell you? The High Priestess shows you the way to the Empress. You know this to be a certainty. All you got to do is walk through the door despite your doubts, despite your fear of failure, your fear of disappointment. And it's, the Five of Wands at the end reminding us that it is a volitional act. No one is throwing you through the door. Spirit, the High Priestess is here. You have the certainty, but nothing is going to force you to do anything. No one is forcing you to change your entire life. This is something that you kind of have to brace yourself and walk through that fiery doorway of that Eon card. Believing in yourself, trusting in your intuition, and you're going to change your life. And you're going to start living your best life right now. We're not waiting till the end of we're not waiting till a year from now. A year from now, I think you want to be able to look back and reflect and think, I lived my best life. This is good. And things keep getting better and better and better. We need to start living that right now, which means you start following your intuition right now. You start following what your heart is telling you, what your right brain is telling you, right? Despite the opposition from our rational thinking, right? We want them to work together. We don't want to completely disregard the rational thinking, because then we're just kind of being led around by our heart and our emotions perhaps, and we get into all sorts of trouble. So we need to be, like I said, led by the intuition, driven by our fire, driven by our will. And we have the heart and the mind on either side, joining forces to help stabilize us. As we're following our intuition with passion and enthusiasm, we need the heart and the mind. We need the swords and the cups to work together to balance out the canoe. I forget what those things are called that sort of balance the canoe. I don't remember. The catamarans or something, right? I don't know. But you know what I mean. Yeah. Let's select our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot, the factor infinite and unknown. And it's going to go right here with Clark W. Griswold III. And now we're not going to look at that card until the very end, but it will tie everything together and give us the confirmation that we need. If you have a prediction for that card, please put it in the comments. Let's take a look around the room. We have good major arcana today. We've got, of course, the High Priestess showing us what doorway to walk through to get to the Empress. What comes right behind the Empress what right behind the High Priestess is the Empress. Now, in your case, you've got to go through this fiery doorway. It's not easy. This is a portal. This is a wormhole to the future. Okay? This is a decision. You step across this threshold, and this is kind of like the decision to change your life. Okay? And again, your entire life is going to change this coming year. It's your decision to allow that to happen. It's your decision to follow your intuition. We all have intuition. Most of us either don't listen to it, don't hear it at all, or if we do hear it, we're not following those instructions. How many of us go through life with this underlying certainty about something, but we're behaving in a completely different way? It's like I know something in the core of my being. I know something, but I'm refusing to act based on that certainty. We're a house divided against itself, And this, I think, this is the way, right? Taking this, it is a decision to follow the high priestess to that empress life. And that's the doorway, that's the decision. That's what the threshold you have to cross. Okay? And it's a fiery doorway. It's not easy. Change is never easy. Following our heart, following our intuition, learning to, I'm putting these cards in the wrong place now. It's never an easy task, okay? Because the Eon card here is asking you to leave off a lot of things that aren't necessary. Going through a fiery doorway, what it does is it purifies you. This is a purification by fire. Okay? Everything that is not you, all of the junk that accumulates on our soul or on our aura, right? We burn it away. We purify it. We get rid of all of that. We learn what needs to be left behind. What isn't an essential part of us doesn't go through this doorway. We're leaving everything in the past that doesn't need to hold importance in our life right now. What doesn't need to have a grip on us. What doesn't need to claim our energy or our time. Right? We are all chained to our past, our history, our life. What came before us, the baggage, the experiences, all these things. We all have all of these chains. Going through this doorway is going to burn off. It's going to singe off everything that's not essentially who you are. Okay, in some ways, we have to let go of the past. We have to leave it in the rearview mirror. Okay? Otherwise, it's going to continue to claim space in our lives. Okay? Space that, it feels like the universe is sending you a lot of love, a lot of joy, a lot of bliss, a lot of opportunities. And if we're chained to our past, we're not going to have any room for any of these blessings, any of these miracles. Okay? And in some ways, it's not about what happened to us in the past that then is dictating how we're behaving now. That's the way we usually roll with life, right? Everything that I went through as a kid, everything I did yesterday, and all the days before yesterday are sort of influencing why I make the decisions I make now, how I live my life now, right? But we start living our life in a different way. We start following the intuition. We start seeking meaning in life. I don't care what I did yesterday. I don't care how I was raised by my parents, right? I'm not going to let that control me now. It has an unconscious influence, and yes, that's something that's always going to kind of be there, but we've got to stay vigilant and alert. Because I don't want to just be nothing but a product of my past. I want to search for meaning every day, in the moment, and not be controlled by the past. So that becomes our Seven of Swords. Being vigilant against all of these things that are trying to hit us, all these arrows that are coming in from the past, we've got to be very vigilant. We've got to keep a watchful eye on ourselves and our own behavior and say, okay, why am I thinking this way? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I acting this way? Is this because I'm being controlled by my history, by yesterday or last year or 20, 30, 40 years ago when I was a little baby? I'm kind of giving away my age here, I guess. Or am I going to choose to ask myself real time, what is my intuition telling me? What do I know to be true? What has the most meaning for me right now? Okay? It's not that black and white. We may think we're following our intuition. It's always going to be a subtle connection with our past. It's impossible to really, make it so mutually exclusive. But I think this is a shift in how we're living our lives. That we're choosing to find meaning. We're choosing to follow our intuition and not be controlled by the past. Okay? We are not just an effect that has a whole series of causes stretching back, through time. Okay, that we can be sort of, and it's kind of a rebirth, and that's what this card is about too. This is a rebirth. This is a renewal. This is a phoenix from the ashes, and it's saying, I'm done with my past. I'm done with all the BS that's been holding me back in life, and I'm willing to let life change. I'm willing to let myself change and to let life change, and it can happen in an instant. Okay? So we've got really good majors anyway. We got fire. We certainly have water, don't we? We've got a little bit of air and a little bit of earth. Now, the Ten of Cups is satiety. It is having a full and meaningful life. This is a life that is filled with purpose. This is a life where every aspect here we've sort of we've recognized the different areas of our life, and we've started pursuing meaning in these areas. I think you're somebody that is searching for depth and richness and meaning in life. Okay? And we want this to be a wholesome thing. We want all the cups filled. We don't want just a concentration of energy over here and then it's dry over there, you know? We want it to be ubiquitous. We want our life to be full of meaning, fulfillment. We are fully filled, right, with meaning and purpose and satisfaction. Knowing that this is an ongoing process. It's not like we snap our fingers and suddenly I'm happy, you know. But this is snapping our fingers, and we're choosing to prioritize this. And so then every decision we make, every action we take is filling up these cups more and more and more until we start living that life in an ongoing basis. We're at like a 9.5, right? The 10 being that sort of the ideal, right? The 10 is like the poster on your wall. We're not going to be exactly like it, but we can get darn close. Okay? There are no perfect 10s. There have been, right? But they're an anomaly. Generally speaking, we're pursuing our 10 of cups. And most of us, well, I don't know. I wonder if life is a scale of sort of 1 through 10, where are you living in your satisfaction right now? Are you a 5? Are you a 9? Are you a 2? Right? You know, how do we feel right now about our life? Are we pursuing those things that are fulfilling us? Do we recognize the areas in our life that might be a little dry, that need some work? You know, and then we start pushing toward the 10. And we want that depth, we want that meaning. And that really means that we have to follow our intuition and not allow the doubt, the self-criticism, or the criticism coming from others to influence us, or even the criticism coming from our past self, from who we were 20 years ago. You know, that's another thing, that we're all constantly changing. You are not who you were 20 years ago. And you're not who you're going to be 10 years from now, 5 years from now, or even tomorrow, or later today. You'll be somebody different. Okay? And this is sort of in real time, staying in the moment and understanding that every decision I'm making now, even if it contradicts the decision I made 20 minutes ago, it doesn't matter. This is my meaning now. This is what fulfills me now. And it, you know, we're not using that as an excuse to be frivolous or wanton in our behavior, or to be too vacillating, right, or too contradictory. We're not using this as an excuse to be fickle, right? But we are prioritizing the depth of meaning, the richness of our own lives. And if something isn't doing it for you anymore, change it. You're allowed to say no at any point, right? The Prince of Cups in the background, this is yesterday. This is kind of saying that the way you felt about something yesterday has to be the way you feel today. Does it really? No, it doesn't. This is a fixed water energy. This is a fixed feeling. I'm stuck in a particular feeling, and it's kind of like, you know, because you felt one way towards something, and at one time in my life, I don't know, let's say I loved sushi, for instance, right? And this is, don't tell my wife or my daughter I'm saying this, but I used to love sushi, right? But as time goes on, I realize I kind of don't like it as much anymore. It's because we eat it so often that I'm starting to not like it. But anyway, I don't have to continue doing it. And sometimes we sit there and here I am eating sushi again, or ice cream, or just being in certain areas, or the same kind of music. There was music that I once loved. I couldn't get enough of it. I would listen to that kind of music all day, every day. But as time goes on and I grow and change, I realize I don't feel the same way about it that I did. And it's not like you just wake up one day and say, oh wow, I really don't like that style of music anymore. I used to be really into like heavy metal, you know. But now as time goes on, it's just kind of like I'm sort of phasing out of it. And that's okay. We don't have to keep loving the same things we used to love. Is your intuition telling you that, wait a minute, I'm not loving this as much as I did yesterday. Tomorrow, I may love it a little less. Okay? So I feel like this is a distancing of something that we once cherished. And it sort of sucks when you realize that you don't cherish it the same way you used to. And it's kind of bittersweet, it's kind of sad, right? But this is the recognition that we change. Our feelings are never going to stay the same about anything permanently. Nothing is permanent, right? We have to be able to acknowledge that. We have to be able to listen to the intuition that says, oh, okay, Paul, for the last few years, you've been sort of phasing out of your love for heavy metal music, and it's been diminishing. And now I put it on, I'm just like, I don't like it anymore. You know, no offense, it still holds a very dear place in my heart. I'm just using that as an example. But there are a lot of things in life that we have that relationship with. We feel like we have to keep doing it because it's what I loved. Past tense, it's what and that's just talking about the pleasant feelings. What about the unpleasant feelings? I used to hate that, and therefore I have to keep hating it, even if I really kind of secretly like it. No, I have to keep hating it. Okay, so the Prince of Cups is us realizing that our feelings towards something, good or bad, pleasant or unpleasant, pleasurable or not pleasurable, they change over time. And we have to allow ourselves to acknowledge that. The same thing is kind of true of the Princess of Cups, right? The Princess of Cups is not about the distancing of things that, the distancings of feelings that I used to have but I don't have anymore. This is now us getting closer to new feelings that I have toward other things. Well, now, I'm starting to find new things that I like. So we're able to acknowledge that I don't feel the same way about things I used to. And we're also able to acknowledge that, hey, now I have room to fall in love with new things. Now there are new things that I cherish because I've gotten out of that fixed water energy of something that I used to cherish. I used to find pleasure and delight in it, and I was holding on to it. But now I'm trusting my intuition more. I'm listening to my heart. I'm using my right brain. And now I find so much more things that I cherish, that do the same thing to me that the other things used to do, they don't anymore. And it gives us space. So really, these two cards give us the freedom to experience life fresh every moment, and that is really adding to our depth and richness and our purpose and our meaning and our fulfillment of life. It's not fulfilling to just hold on to the same feelings we've always had, because then we're sort of concentrating that water, but it may be dry. The Ten of Cups may be dry in every other place. But if we can recognize that and open ourselves up to new feelings, new emotions, new attractions, desires, new lusts and loves and infatuations, and we have a more rich experience of life. So I feel like this is kind of how your life is changing in this coming year. Again, it's not an overnight thing. The choice to be open to this and allow it to start happening is an overnight choice. The process itself takes time because we have to observe these things. What are we doing with our life that we're just sort of doing it by routine now? Well, this used to mean something to me. It doesn't mean anything anymore. Why am I still doing it? Well, if I can recognize that and sort of move away from that, at least in consciousness, then that opens up my space for new things that I may love and find meaning in. Maybe this is a return to other things that you used to find meaning in, but they got sort of squeezed out by other things too. Okay? And so I think this is the change that's happening. We're falling in love with things. We're finding interest in new things, and we want to explore these things. We want to begin engaging with new things in which we find meaning and purpose. Yeah, and that's nice. Now, with that comes the Five of Cups. Like I said, it's kind of bittersweet when you realize, oh, wow, I really don't love sushi the same way I always did. I thought that I was going to be the person who just loved sushi. That was going to be my thing for the rest of my life. Now I'm kind of sad that like I just don't find the meaning or the richness or the experience in eating sushi that I once did. Now that's not exactly true for me. I still do enjoy sushi, but maybe I've had it so often that I sort of have been getting tired of it. But you know what I mean. When we realize that our feelings towards something aren't what they used to be, it's sort of sad. Because there is something that was such a deep part of my life for a long time, and now it's not there anymore. It's kind of the way friends, sometimes we hold on to friendships that our intuition is telling us it's not there anymore. But we're holding on to it because we don't want to experience that sorrow of realizing like, wow, we're not really close anymore. We're not really friends anymore. There's no connection anymore. And a lot of us don't want to admit that. And so we cling to it. This could be relationships. This could be hobbies and activities, friends, family members. It could be, your spiritual work. It could be some creative work, whatever we're talking about here, life, right? Life in general. We don't want to go through this process because it pains us. It's unpleasant to have this realization, but I think it's necessary. Because once we acknowledge that, we open ourselves up again to new things for more meaning. And that feels good, right? By the way, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. It's totally free, doesn't cost anything. Supports the channel, and I appreciate that. Your general energy now is this Eon card. This is the doorway through which we must walk through. And part of what's being burned off of us, singed, something that we're being purified of, is these attachments to the feelings. We're talking about emotions here. You're surrounded by water, right? You're someone who feels things very deeply. And we let go of both our history, our past. It's kind of like, Castaneda, Don Juan, erasing personal history. You can create yourself anew. You walk through this doorway, you're the phoenix rising from the ashes. Your past doesn't have to hold as much space in your life anymore. What you'd been through as a kid doesn't have to be your identity. It doesn't have to still control you and dictate your behavior. You're not a puppet on a string, So we make the decision to let go of that. Now again, it doesn't happen overnight. It's not just suddenly one day we're just free, our wings are spread and we're flying through the air. It's an ongoing process. There's commitment here. There is a devotion. We have to take that step across this threshold and do that kind of work. But I guarantee your life's going to get better. The Spirit is showing you the way to your Empress life. And there it is in the environment. This is now a relationship with the world. This card's in the position of your relationships. It's how you are interacting, interpersonal relationships, but not just interpersonal. This is how you interact with everything, with nature, with business, with organizations, with entities, with ideas, with yourself, with feelings, with thoughts. Okay? So it creates a new relational dynamic with the world around you, with everything outside of you and everything inside of you. So now there is this interaction with life that has meaning. Now we're doing things in the world, not just out of routine or habit that don't really have significance to us. And now we're engaged with things, people, places, things, ideas, that bring us meaning. Because the Empress is a very symbiotic card. You put in and you get back. You give and you receive, right? And the more you put in, the more you get out. And so we're now engaged with things that really do something for us, that really hold meaning in our life. Okay? Is it the meaning of tradition? Is it meaningful because, it's always been meaningful, or because that's what I'm supposed to find meaning in? Right? These are some of the tricks that the mind plays on us with our Seven of Swords. We convince ourselves that this does have meaning. It's not a logical thing. It's not a question and answer kind of dialogue here. It's a feeling. Do you feel the meaning in this? Well, no, but I've always done this, and intellectually it may have meaning. But we're talking spiritually, intuitively, emotionally. Does it hold water for you? Okay. And 2025 is going to be a year where you are pursuing more and more things, letting go of more and more things, but pursuing more and more things, people, places, things, ideas, whatever, that hold meaning for you. Okay? And it's going to feel good. That's the point here. It feels rich. It feels worthwhile. And now the fear, the obstacle is the Seven of Pentacles. The obstacle is the fear of failure. Well, what if I sort of make some space for some new feelings and I begin a new friendship, a new relationship, a new hobby? What if I start engaging with some kind of new cuisine? What if I decide to start having French food or something, right? Looking for that experience. What if I don't find it? What if? Yeah. If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, right? There's always going to be this fear of failure. And that is usually what is preventing us from doing anything. Then we've got that Seven of Swords, Seven of Pentacles, right? These are two peas in a pod. Yeah. Because we have this fear of failure, and then the mind says, well, it's not worth trying new things because, there's no guarantee that I'm going to like it. What if it does just lead to sorrow? What if, what if I kind of allow myself to drift away from my old friends or whatever that is? And, what if I really regret that? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it could happen, right? We'll never know what else is out there if we don't try. And again, this is kind of like our intuition is pulling us in a direction. But our intellectual mind is saying, well, no, what if it doesn't work out? What if we fail at it? What if we pursue a new relationship and it just sort of, it crumbles? What if we make mistakes and things don't happen that well, Yeah, that's always the fear. Sometimes we have to get over that. Sometimes we have to be willing to fight. We have to be willing to work. We have to be willing to put in the effort, right? It's not just, I said again, we're being pulled along by our intuition. And we have our heart and our mind on either side trying to balance us out and keep us level, keep us from rolling over or capsizing, right? Keeps us steady. We're being driven by our will, being driven by our fire energy. You've got to want it. You got to be willing to put in the work and take the risks. You've got to be willing to overcome the inertia of the seven. Sometimes we get here and we just think, no, it's not worth trying it. It's better for me just to stay with the tried and true. Can't teach an old dog new tricks, right? I'm just going to stay in my fixed water energy. I'm going to try to tune out my intuition, right? We all do that. We all tune out our intuition almost every day, almost constantly, right? I'm always on my phone scrolling, right? I'm always, watching various things, but YouTube's the exception, right? You can be here. This is a place where I think we're trying to encourage you to follow your intuition, right? We're trying to get you to think about these things, right? But even with tarot, and maybe I'm talking myself out of a job here, but even is tarot a distraction for you? Is tarot a way that you're sort of tuning out your own intuition, or is it helping you to tune in? You've got to be able to make these decisions and take these steps and go through that doorway and, and push yourself. The intuition is trying to pull you. You need to push yourself with this Five of Wands. This is force and fire. This is a card that's kind of like step on the gas, And it's interesting that it comes right after our earth energy, because if this is inertia, it's very difficult to get started with something. It's very easy to keep doing what we've been doing, even if I'm not really finding that much meaning in it. It's consistent, right? It's familiar. There's order and routine there. So a body at rest stays at rest. Okay? A fixed emotional energy is going to stay fixed until something happens, until we push ourselves or something pushes us. Okay? And that's what that Five of Wands is. Let's look at our mystery card now. Maybe the Hermit, your superpower card. It may be an Ace of Swords. If you have a prediction, please put it in the comments. Now's your chance, okay? Let's see. The High Priestess again. And this illustrates it more because you can see the pomegranates behind her. That is a reference to the Empress card. So the High Priestess truly is showing you the way. It's saying, hey, your Empress life is right here. All you got to do is go in, and it's dark. It's dark and scary. You don't know what's back there. I don't even know what's back there. But that's where you got to go to find the Empress. And we've got to trust in ourselves. We've got to trust in our intuition. Even if it's black and it looks scary and we just think, I don't know what's in there. I don't know what's waiting for me. Well, we know what's waiting for us here because this is what we've been doing for years on end. So we know what that's going to be like. We don't know what's behind the high priestess. Truly, I mean, in the details. There's no certainty, intellectually anyway. Intellectually, there's no certainty. Your spirit knows, your intuition knows, and has the certainty. Who are you going to listen to? Yeah. Anyway, we're going to do an extended reading. If you want to stick around, there's a link up top. There is a link down below. New readings for Virgo on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Be sure to watch both readings. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. It's totally free. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.